We have a very special guest in studio today. He is an MMA coach, one of the owners of ESMMA, the great and powerful Erik Steenberg. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, sir.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Dude, doing great, man.
Yeah.
Happy to, like we were just saying, we've known each other for lots of years, but we've really never actually sat down and talked before. So
Yeah.
really looking forward to, kind of getting to know you here. So, first I just kind of want to start off, how did you get into this whole MMA fighting space? Did it start at an early age? Take us all the way back. Where did it begin?
So I started when I was 8 years old. I got into, of all things, there used to be a YMCA up on Grand in the city. That's where I grew up. And I went to do karate there. And that's actually how I got into all of this originally. After a while, got into point tournaments, that kind of stuff, like karate point tournaments, that kind of thing. And then kind of soured on that. I don't know if you ever seen kids point tournaments.
It's like playing tag.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a lot of kicking the body. It's a lot of single shot. When I was doing it, it was a single shot break. So it just turns into can't punch to the head. You can kick to the head, kick to the body, not to the legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just
So many rules.
yeah, I just wanted something else. So I took a little bit of time, soured on it, and then it kind of came back to my dad, and I was like, hey, I want to box. And my dad at the time, he worked at Schnucks on Grand,
Okay.
and he had a friend there who taught kids, right? So I went up to North City and I started boxing when I was a kid. I started training out of this dude's garage.
And how old were you?
12.
Okay.
I think I was 12 or 13 at that point.
Now, did you play any other sports or anything?
I pretty much played at
the
some
stuff
point or
that's
another time, I played everything, The main thing that I played a lot of was probably basketball, at least when I was that age. But yeah, for the most part, it was martial arts and stuff like that. I did other stuff. I did gymnastics when I was really young. Again, YMCA, it used to be.
It all.
Used to be. It was really nice. You'd have kind of the pay, everything, right? You could do everything, right? And my Sundays would be swimming, basketball, gymnastics, karate. It would just be back to back to back. Yeah. So they just put me up there and until all the classes were done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's go to a
daycare.
class. Yeah. Exactly. Pretty much. Yeah. Which is awesome for me. I'm sure it was terrible for the people who had to instruct me, So, I got into boxing. It was kind of disorganized. Boxing's still disorganized. I have this whole thing about USA boxing and how, boxing's kind of dying in America, and you're kind of seeing it if you look at the champions.
Oh, for
but
sure.
Disorganized in what way?
It's so I don't know how long you have, but from the get go, it's USA boxing's terrible, absolutely terrible. So if you do fighting in general, and almost all of it is run by the state. As I'm still not feeling great. The state runs almost all fighting. Right. So if you're doing kickboxing, if you're doing MMA at an amateur level, it's the state. If you do professional boxing, professional kickboxing, or professional MMA, it's the state. The only group that is locked down is boxing amateurs by USA Boxing. And you have to go through them in order to do anything. Right. And the problem with that is USA Boxing's a bunch of old men who don't know how to use email, who don't know how to update anything. And every event you go to, you're not sure who you're facing. You're not sure if they're actually going to be accurate with the amount of fights they have, because they have these books, because they do everything basically still paper.
Oh, Jesus.
Right?
Jeez.
You can have these red books, right? So you basically go, you get this red book, you pay for it. You come and you go, oh, I have my book. And then they stamp it and so forth. And you could just lose it. Right? And so then you could just be like, oh, you could have 15 fights. Oh, yeah, I've only had 2 fights.
Reset your record.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. And it's really, really disorganized. And it's especially disorganized in lower population states, right?
Gotcha.
So if you go to Iowa, good luck. You have no idea. If you go to Indiana, good luck. You know what I'm saying? Places so that's the first thing. Plus also they just everybody lies about their weight. So you'll show up, right? Your guy will be on weight. This guy will miss, and they'll be like, oh, it's 10 pounds. It's fine. And then they want me to tell you, it's not even you watch them weigh in. It's just they watch everybody weigh in and they go, oh, okay. They won't say anything. It's just that it's so many things. And then they harp on things that don't matter at all. right? So like they don't care about the weights, they don't care about the matchups, they don't care about like making sure that people are actually matched correctly for records. But then they'll have a rules meeting where they'll spend 15 minutes talking about, oh, your shorts have to have a white stripe here, and they have to be a different color from there down, and they have to be a different color from there up, so we can differentiate like high to low. And I'm like, I realize you're 70, but you have eyeballs. Like you can see where low blow is, you know? Oh, that's not the right type of tank top. Oh, your headgear is incorrect, right? And it says USA Boxing on them. And they'll still be like, yeah, well, that was last year's. Like you have to, it's just a mess, man.
That
and it's,
like shit.
Dude, it's horrible. It's absolutely, there we go. It's fucking horrible. It pisses me off to no end as somebody who boxed. And it was disorganized when I was younger. You know what I mean? But it's
even worse now.
It's
well, as you've gotten older, you would think that you think it would advance with everything else.
But it hasn't.
But it hasn't. Yeah.
Because the same people who are in charge then are in charge now. Right. So again, you have like if you go to a USA boxing event, like next time you go to a boxing event that has amateur boxing, that's just amateur boxing, look around at who's in charge official wise. And what you're going to see is everybody is like 70 years old. And again, I'm not trying to harp on people who are older, but if you email them for like questions, good luck. If you try to like everything is just a hurdle to get past, to even get it to happen. It's just a mess, dude. And it's really unfortunate because I think it kills amateur boxing.
I feel like, especially with how popular MMA's gotten, I feel like that's not helping.
Why would you go anywhere else? Right. I have guys that have done both, right? I have guys that do kickboxing, Muay Thai, right? And I have guys that do boxing, right? And they've done both. And most of the guys that I've had, they'll do a few boxing matches and a few kickboxing matches, and they'll just go to kickboxing. They'll just give up on boxing because it's a pain in the ass. You know what I'm saying? Like it's such a pain in the ass. You don't know who you're going to face. Even the people who organize the events, right, are like the dumbest people alive, right? It is always 3 weeks. Oh, I have a show coming up. Cool. You know what I mean? Like awesome. You know,
that's not enough time to prepare.
But it's just last second nonsense. You go, they don't even know the venue is going to be sometime. I mean, it's just always badly set up. It's just always badly set up. I've just never been to a USA boxing event that's ever well set up. Like almost
like
ever.
A great way for somebody to get hurt too.
I mean, that's another thing, man. I mean, it's very hard to be a fake jiu-jitsu coach. You would agree. 100%. You would agree. Yeah. The second somebody walks in, you can just tell, right?
Yeah. Well, you grapple. Give me 30 seconds with you, and I could tell you if you're.
How about if they show stuff?
Yeah.
What about the guy who just got his black belt in 3.5 years or whatever it was? That guy.
I saw that.
Okay. You know what I mean?
I mean, if he's training as much as he said, I mean, it's not the first time that's ever happened. We look at guys like BJ Penn, Ezra. Ezra got his black belt.
But Ezra was 20 years old,
right?
True. BJ Penn was 20 years old, and BJ Penn is a rich kid from Hawaii who's I think he's a prince. Right. I think he's a prince in that country, in whatever. Whatever there is, right? I mean, he didn't work, you know? I mean, this guy's 47?
I think so, yeah. And
I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy. Yeah. I'm 42.
Well, no,
you know,
I mean,
I just got out of shoulder surgery. I could barely lift my arm. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's an age difference there. You know what I mean? Let's be real. Like, I fought professionally when I was 20 years old. I know what the difference is when I was able to go versus now. Like, bro, getting your black, I'm not saying that you can't get your black belt at 47, by the way. But I'm just saying
it's not going to take 3.5 years.
Thank you. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at.
You'll have started at like 35.
You know, maybe? Most people it's 8 to 10 years. Yeah. Most people it's 8 to 10 years. You know what I mean? Like it took me. I'm a purple belt. A very long time ago, purple belt, and it's like once I got my purple belt, I pretty much almost entirely stopped doing gi. I did a lot of no gi. I'm still decent, but it's one of these things where it's like. If I had to jump back into like doing gi, I'm not getting that. And like, I'm not going from my purple to a black in 3.5 years. And I teach, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different. Like, I don't buy that for 2 seconds, especially that guy's like a scam artist. Yeah. Different topic. Anyways.
For sure. No, totally.
Well, I mean, you just go and look at the comments. Like anybody that's in jiu-jitsu fucking knows.
You got to be like a savant and you have to be like dedicating 8+ hours a day for 3 years.
I just don't know your body, especially at that age, there's no way your body's
keeping up with it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're on the sauce.
He's on, even if you're, I mean, he's on the sauce. He's not on like testosterone
Yeah.
replacement therapy. Let's be real.
We are.
He's not
Yeah.
like 6 to 1,000. You know what I mean? Like in that range. He's not doing that. He's in. That guy's got to be like
Superhuman levels.
exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he's got to be like just off the charts
Right.
if he's really able to do that all the time. And even then, it's like your ligaments aren't going to hold up. Like your testosterone doesn't help with that. Like you still are a 47-year-old ligament joint person. You know what I mean? Whatever. So yeah, I don't know.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I think I saw that and I was like, okay, I don't know.
That was all over social media for me.
Oh man, it's like all I saw for like a week. I feel like, especially
kind of understandable. I think a lot of
for
people.
sure.
I mean,
Let's talk about it.
it's hard to get.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
And it should be.
Exactly.
And it makes it valuable because it's hard to get. Man,
Exactly.
it's like one of those things that money can't buy that. I mean,
It's supposedly.
yeah, supposedly.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You put that guy against a real black belt. Let's see.
But he'll
we haven't
never
seen-
roll.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have yet to see any sort of
Right, 'cause
training footage with this guy.
And he didn't do any competitions.
Right.
Nothing. Like
I am totally all for if you start and like you're 40 years old and you're like, hey, I want to get my black belt, and you get your black belt when you're 50, right? And you don't like roll hard a lot, and you don't compete that much. I'm actually okay with that, but I still think there should be a set amount of time to some extent that you're going to get it. The idea that if you are getting a black belt in 3.5 years, you better be smashing people left and right when you're rolling, and you better be competing.
100%.
Right?
I feel
Again,
like you have to
absolutely.
compete.
As
I would
we're-
feel like you'd want to brag about that and show it off. Like, hey,
BJ Penn got his super fast, but he was smashing everybody in the world.
Right.
Right. Ezra got
Won
his
Abu
super.
Dhabi as what? Or
I think it was 3 years.
3 years into training.
You have a black belt, okay?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like Ezra got his in 5 years again, competing at a super high level. You know what I mean? I think if you're going to get it that fast, then competition is necessary. I think if you get it over a 10-year period, I don't know if competition is necessary. Like there has to be some give and take
there's
there.
different levels to every black belt,
That
like
too.
there's not, there's competition level black belts, and then there's hobbyist black.
I mean, there's competition level purple belts. Let's be real.
yes.
Like we've all ran into those guys where we're like, you're a purple belt? Jesus Christ.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then you ran into some guys that you're like, oh, you're a black belt. But it's like, I could tell, but I also can tell that you're not like, you're not going out there and like, going at it all the time. Right. You know what I'm saying? You just don't have it. Again, it's like,
do you feel like that should be a requirement to get your black belt? Is that you do have some competition?
No, not necessarily. I just think it's like, again, it needs to be like a time thing or a competition thing. It can't be, again, that guy, 3.5 years. It's like, if you're getting it in 3.5 years, then you better be able to show something.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if you get it over 10 years, 10 plus years, you know what I'm saying?
You should be able to show something. Like if you spend 10 years doing something, I should be able to show you a handful of things.
Exactly.
Show me you drilling.
But
show me you
again,
rolling.
exactly. But maybe it's not a scenario where you're like a competition like monster, and that's okay. You know what I mean? There's plenty of good black belts out there that aren't like the best in the world. Obviously, if that was the case, there wouldn't be that many black belts, right? There's a lot of black belts out there, but I also think that like, again, it's just it's a time or it's either time or competition. It's got to be one of those two things, right? It can't be both in this guy's scenario. He did it in 3.5 years and no competition. Okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. The vice president of my company just got his black belt, and I think he's in his 50s.
Yeah, but he's
Again,
probably
I
been
don't-
training for.
He's been last time I talked to him, he said he's been doing it for a long time.
I mean, most people don't.
Yeah.
Most people get it. Like I said, it's 8 to 10, and that's if
Well,
you're like doing it pretty regularly.
Yeah, and
You know what I
wouldn't
mean?
want to be a
Yeah.
black belt that didn't deserve it.
Well, that's the other thing
can't,
too.
like just because they tie that black black belt around your waist,
Right. Well,
you don't
I guess
automatically
it
get
just
powers. Like it's
Yeah.
just,
it goes to speak to the culture of that gym that he's at. Like if they're willing to let that happen, or
I mean, the
willing to do
problem is
that,
Jake
there's
Shields,
they're
right?
like, it's not just Jake Shields. It's the Italian kid. I can't
yeah.
think his damn name. We're talking like really good guys.
Yeah.
right.
Like that's why
like everybody's talking about.
I
it,
mean,
'cause it's
Glover
like-
Teixeira is involved too.
Right.
I mean, these guys are like legit, and this is why people are kind of like, what the fuck? And I think if it was out of some no-name gym and it was just some random guy giving
We
out
wouldn't be
blood,
talking about
we
it.
wouldn't care,
Yeah.
right? But it's not that. It's this guy has this podcast and he puts all these fighters on and he brings them on and then he basically makes them do like a weird ritual of talking about how great he is, and it's just it's so obvious. They're like, he's He's really good. He's a genius. He's such a smart guy. And it's like they're looking at their bank account while they're talking about, you know what I mean? Like it's very obvious this guy's just like, here's money. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I'm not even that committed to like the jiu-jitsu aspect, and it still irritated me a lot.
For sure. No, it irritated me too.
Yeah.
Let's get back into.
Sorry.
No,
way off topic.
No, it's
Yeah.
all good. I love. That's what we do all the time. So, so you started your boxing at 12.
12, 13.
What was the next step from there?
Again, USA Boxing is disorganized.
Okay,
and then beyond that, sorry. And then beyond that was, I switched from the person I was training with because it was super off and on. And it became like kind of a mess. I was training out of a garage basically. And then I went from that into another gym and I started doing kickboxing. So we used to do what's called American style kickboxing. Which
kicks to the legs, right?
Exactly. Hey, some people know this, right? I tell people this and they're like, what's that? And I was like, it's kind of what Wonder Boy used to do, at least initially. So it's shin guards, pants, no kicks to the legs. All kicks are from the waist up. It's very light. So if you think of that kind of like in out, again, it's very karate adjacent. Actually, it's what karate kind of competition started turning into later. And I did that for a while, and then K1 became a lot more popular, and then nobody did American style, and everybody switched over to the K1
Dutch
style. Yeah. So
isn't K1 Dutch?
Basically, yeah, it's basically it's very limited clenching, like almost none, and no elbows, knees to the well, if you're a pro, knees to the head, kicks anywhere, and then punches head body, right? No sweeps. So that's kind of a way to think about that, and that's what I did, and then kind of fast forward. I was doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu. Funny enough, the first thing I actually ever did grappling wise was Sambo of all things. Well, it was the first guy who taught me some grappling was a Bosnian guy, and he did Sambo. He hadn't, and it was interesting. Anyways, so that was fun, but kind of ended up breaking my shin. Nothing to do with fighting, just being stupid. And I came back. It was really hard to do anything for a while, so I started trying like jiu-jitsu a lot more because I was like, well,
slam your shins into things.
Yeah,
so.
well, I couldn't run. I couldn't run. I couldn't jump rope. I couldn't move really well. I couldn't kick. So when I first came back and it was like healing up, I was like, well, I want to train still. So I just started doing jiu-jitsu.
Where'd you do that at?
I actually was at Absolute Martial Arts originally at that point. So that was like it wasn't an Afton then. That was when it was in the city. Okay. So they used to be at Arsenal and Kings Highway.
Oh, okay.
And so then I was there. And then I started doing that for a while, and I liked it. I was like, well, let's do an MMA fight. And I did an MMA fight. I think I was in high school still. I don't know. I was like 18, something like that. It was pretty young. Wow. And just by that point I already had a lot of kickboxing and boxing matches. I'm trying to remember exactly, but yeah, I think it was 18 or 19 when I had my first MMA fight. I think I was just out of high school. I think it was the summer. And then, I kind of went from there. Right. So had a bunch of MMA fights, did really well. And then fast forward, decided to turn pro and did really well 20? As a pro. I wasn't that young. No, I was 22 or something like that when I turned pro, I think. And then I got a lot of injuries. It started really being an issue. That was kind of my biggest problem. I always felt like I was really technically very good. But I feel like that it was just kind of a body breakdown issue over time. Started getting a lot of knee injuries, back injuries, neck injuries, shoulder injuries, all the classic stuff.
Yeah, classic stuff.
Yeah.
Heard of all these before.
Yeah. it builds up really fast. And, I mean, I went 9-0 as an amateur. I had 9 finishes as an amateur. Nice. And then, I went 5-1 as a pro and 5 finishes as a pro. Nice. And it just sucked, man. I think the biggest, it's just
what weight class you at?
55, 45. I was 45 at the very end of my career because I was like, well, if I can get my weight down enough, I can hang with anybody, which I feel like was true. There's guys where it's like, it's very hard for them to hang at the next weight class up. I always felt like that was me. Like I always felt like I was really fat. Like I don't look like it, but like when people spar with me, they're like, you're really fast. And I'm like, so I was really quick and I hit really hard. I wasn't crazy strong, right? So when I would get into like these grappling exchanges at 55, and a lot of these guys are like 200 pounds,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And they're 2 inches shorter than me too. And so you just end up like, you just grappling for your life against these guys. And then you would separate and you're just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like it just sucks it out of you. And then when I would do the same thing at 45, I'm like, these guys are babies. Like these are little kids. You know what I'm saying? Like for the most part, they feel like kids. You know what I'm saying? They just feel so small and light. And I was just like, oh, this is easy. And then I'm like hitting these guys and I'm just like, man, I'm rocking these dudes like when I touch them. And but yeah, I mean the biggest problem again was just injuries. Yeah, I mean, I tried to go at this point I'm at Finney's. I tried to I had like 4 camps like back to back where I tried to get back into it. Had a huge knee injury, had to get surgery.
What'd you have?
Trying to remember the first one. The first one, I shouldn't say huge injury. The second one was the huge injury. My mistake. The first one was I messed it up and then I was kind of like, no, it's fine. And then I was like, I got to take a little time. And then I came back and then I messed it up. And then it was meniscus and cartilage was the first one. And they were like, yeah, it's not great in there, you know, just being honest. And then the second time was ACL, MCL, I think is what it was. Yeah. Yeah. And that one was really bad. So that one felt like somebody shot me in my knee with like a 22 is kind of how I describe that one. That was rough. Some people like blow out their ACL and they seem fine.
Yeah. Like
and I just don't understand it.
There's a guy we train with and he tore his ACL in a jiu-jitsu tournament probably like a year and a half ago. And he's like a physical, he's like a personal trainer and he's like, I mean, he looks like a Greek god, you know, of course. Like, yeah. And, you know, he just like basically like did a bunch of like knee rehab stuff and, you know, and went and talked to his doctor and was like, about getting, he's like, you're really not having any problems. He's back to training now full time. That's
wild.
You know, yeah. I rolled with him the other day.
I don't know how that's possible because when I did it, it was so bad that I was like, I was basically unable to walk. So I don't know how, like it's weird. There was that one guy in the NCAA wrestling tournament. I think he had both his ACLs gone and he won, I think. And I'm just like,
well, maybe if it was just your ACL, not both.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think it was just a matter of everything. Yeah. It was just time. Kicking super hard my whole life. You know what I mean? Wrestling, and you know, is really hard on your knees. And
oh yeah,
you know,
I've got knee issues.
I think all of us do. You know, so I don't know. After that, I kind of it just got frustrating, right? Yeah. It got super frustrating.
Just keep trying to keep getting hurt.
Yeah, and it was just like camp after camp after camp. I was like, all right, I'm going to start getting back in shape. I'm going to take a fight when I feel like I'm in shape. And I would start ramping up and it would be like injury, ramp up, injury, ramp up, injury. And then it was starting to take a toll also on like head trauma and stuff like that. Because the problem is like every time you ramp back up from being out of shape, especially from injury, you're getting dinged up. So it's like one of these things where when you're in shape, you're not getting hit as much and so forth. Now it's like I'm getting hit way more. So it just compounds. And I think that's one of the things that people don't appreciate when they think of like athleticism. Everybody thinks of like speed, you know, strength, endurance, and all this stuff. One of the biggest thing in combat sports, athleticism wise, is just durability, right? There's so many guys out there that are athletic freaks and they have zero durability, so they can just never make it to fights, or they do really good and they have this very like fast, you know, ascension, and then they get injured and they're just never the same. You know what I mean?
Or they get knocked out.
They get knocked out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like you just touch them on the chin.
Exactly. And I've seen more guys not be able to reach the level they should just because of durability, not because of other reasons. Like it's I think it's an underrated thing in my opinion. I see it all the time. There's just some guys that just can't. Their bodies are not going to hold up to it. Not to the training that you need to be like in the UFC. That's for sure.
Right. And it's not necessarily something you can just train.
There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, that's what sucks about that one the most. It's like you can get a little stronger, you can get a little faster, you can increase your endurance to an extent. We all only have a rubber band within ourselves to move, and you can get a little more durable. You could do certain things, but man, if your ACLs are bad, it just is going to go. It's going to go. And, you know, if you have joint issues consistently, it's what it is. If you have shoulders issue, I mean, there's a kid I know. I can't think of his name. Cole, a kid that I trained for a while. He was a really good wrestler. You know, we kept trying to get him fights. I mean, he's shoulder surgery, you know, this issue. And he's really good, like really, really good. And it's like, he's never fought. And it's like, I joke, I'm like, you're one of the more dangerous kids I've ever trained that just doesn't fight, that has never fought. And it's just, a lot of injuries, and now it's more life stuff with him. But it was so many injuries, you know. It sucks. Yeah.
It does suck. So at what point where you kind of decided to hang it up? And is that when you kind of just decided to go full in on coaching?
Sorta, yeah. So I started coaching a lot more when I kind of was like, well, I can at least make money.
And you're in the gym.
You know, I'm in the gym and I'm training. And also like people saw me and like, they're like, oh, you're good, you know? And I knew what I was talking about. I think some people are good and don't know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, there's people that are out there that are very good themselves, but they couldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I started doing that. And then I felt like I had to get a real job, so I got a real job for a while. And then
it
was terrible. It was I was basically like a sales trainee for Major Brands, which is like a liquor company. More or less, that's a nice way of saying I was a merchandiser, which is another way of saying I stock shelves. Right? You go to places and you go, hey, what do you need to buy? And they go, we need these out. Exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
well,
and you're just doing
from the truck, and I'll load it on the shelf.
Pretty much. That is exactly it. Yeah, or I'll build a display and blah blah blah. And it sucked, and it wasn't fun. And I really disliked it. But I was like, oh, this is a real job, so I guess I have a real job now. And then I pretty much wasn't really interested in staying in St. Louis at that point, so I moved to Phoenix. Basically, did the same thing down there, and then personal issues kind of pulled me back to St. Louis. Just some stuff with my mom kind of brought me back. And then, after that, I was like, I don't want to do merchandising anymore. So I just kind of went like head first into, at that point I was kind of like, I'm probably never going to fight again. Like this is done. Right. So head first into coaching. And I really, I've been training people since I was like 18. I started teaching classes when I was really young. You know what I mean? So I've been doing that as
20 years now.
Yeah. So, I've been teaching classes forever, but that was like when I went like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Let's do this. And I always wanted to, but that was when I kind of really dedicated myself to 100%. This is what I'm doing. This is the only job I'm going to have. I'm going to do lessons. I'm going to do classes, all that stuff. And kind of went from there. So,
that's when was Finney's the first place you started? Were you going?
No, I worked at other places before that, but Finney's was the spot that I really like solidified becoming like full-time coach. Yeah. That was when I was teaching almost all the striking classes there at that time point. And then I was also teaching a lot of private lessons. And then I was doing, private lessons. And then I became kind of the head fight coach there. I wouldn't say kind. I was the head fight coach there. It's not a good way to put it. I was the one running the sparring and stuff like that for the fighters. And and just kind of started cornering basically everybody out of Finney's for a long time and built up that fight team. And, it got some pretty cool pictures, you know what I mean? When I was still fighting and also when I was coaching everybody. And it's just like cool to look across, it's like, oh, that guy was, Bellator, UFC, it's like all of these dudes. So that was pretty cool.
When did you start ESMMA?
So what happened with that was COVID, right? So COVID hit. I got to talk bad about anybody, but the situation, COVID hit, and then basically we weren't able to work for 3 months, obviously. And I had to make money. So I started doing stuff at parks.
Just like holding this.
Just going places, right? Yeah. And that kind of also brought me into some other gyms and some other things. I was working for a company called NISA. NISA basically puts trainers into big companies. So think like MasterCard, stuff like that. You go there, you teach classes super early in the morning. Sucked, but it was good money. And so I was doing stuff like that.
So you'd like show up to like a master and teach a bunch of people?
Yeah, it was I wouldn't teach anybody really. Yeah. It was cardio kickboxing for moms and dads, but it was fine. People they liked it, they paid for it, so forth. Some of them did private lessons with me, so forth. So it was nice. Started working when COVID lockdown stopped. I started working in another gym, 2 other places actually, and after that I got let go from Finney's, and I was kind of like,
so they found out you were working other places, or
yeah, that wasn't said, but that's the vibe basically. which is, I mean, again, I'm a 1099.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like, exactly. But I was so full time there. I think it was kind of one of and then the other problem was too, right after COVID, I had my classes cut in half. Right. So when I was coming back, not only did I lose 3 months, I also was coming back to having half the amount of classes. And then also a lot of people reaching out to me who had issues with charges that were happening while COVID was going on that I had. Wasn't me, but they were asking me how they could deal with it. And I was like, I don't know, man, you're gonna have to reach out to the actual gym. I'm not in charge of that. And it just kind of, so I got let go at that point. And then I was like, man, I'm just gonna, I have a friend. He's a really good guy. And, I basically asked him if he wanted to go in on a gym, and we kind of went over the finances, and he was like, man, honestly, I don't see how I'm going to make any money off this. And he's like, but I think you should just do this. And more or less kind of gave me I was going to do it, but he was definitely like, absolutely do this. You should do this. And he gave me a lot of confidence to open the place. And, again, personal conversation. I'm not going to get into too much on that one, but was very much just like, I'll help you out if you need it kind of scenario. And opened the place, and I already had.
Well, you brought over a bunch of people that were at Finney's, right?
I mean, more or less. I mean, a lot of people followed. Yeah, I wasn't really like, I mean, I was telling people like, hey, I'm going to open a gym. I wasn't like, hey, you're going to be there, right? Mm-hmm. I just had the attitude of just like, if people want to train where they want to train, they should be able to, I don't have this attitude of like, you're you're my guy. Yes. You need to be with me and, whatever. And so I opened a spot. When I opened the spot, it was profitable day one. I never even had a day where I was negative.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
And I think most people.
It's a great location.
Thank you.
You've been in the same spot over there the whole time?
Yes, 4 years now. Yeah.
It's been that long. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's flying. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I have a post I actually had today. It's like 4 years ago, and it has like 10 guys in sparring. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just reposted. It's like 30. It's like 30. We have 40. I've had 45 people in sparring at this point. Wow. Yeah, that day was brutal because I had to pull a bunch of. I have the second mat now. Yeah, so that's why I did that. But that day was interesting. Having to pull 15 people off the mat between like rounds was interesting. But it's good now. So
yeah. So you guys, I mean, you just expanded, opened up a kind of a second room now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we blacked out a second room, stole it from Subway, went over there and kicked them out. And
I was talking to. I was talking to Nick. Went to one of your classes recently. He's like, yeah, you can still kind of smell the Subway in that room.
Oh yeah. So we found out why. So like we kept going in there, and I'm like, why does it smell? Right? No, it actually wasn't. So what it was the people who did the work did terrible work, and so they put up a wall. Right. And the Subway is it's a shotgun. Right. Yeah. So it's like we took half of the Subway, I should say. They had a 3,000 square foot Subway, which is insane. And so we took 1,500 square foot and a straight line back, and they put up a wall because we needed the wall to separate us. But there was this other wall right here already there, and they attached it. And with the ceiling tiles in, we didn't realize the wall that they put up went all the way to the ceiling, but the wall here that they attached it to was just at the ceiling tiles. So technically speaking, it was wide open to the above the wall, right? So every time they would bake bread, you know what I mean? Every time they would make bread, it just wafts into our place. And I was like, why does it smell so much like Subway in here? It has been a long time. We painted all this different stuff. That's why. So we actually, we put up a barrier when we redid the room. We blacked out the room. Took out the drop ceiling, put in new lighting, put up new walls, put up a ton of matting. It was so expensive, but it's good. It looks great. It's really nice. But yeah, we blocked that, so now it doesn't smell like Subway all the time. So room 2 does not smell like Subway. Yeah.
I mean, there's worse things that it can smell like.
Oh, for sure.
It's pretty weird. Yeah. I would say this, like rolling in and
dude sweat.
Yeah, I food and rolling is just not it. You know what I mean? It's just such a gross smell combo. You walk in, you're like, yeah. So it's nice that it doesn't smell like that anymore. Now it just smells like paint.
Paint and dude sweat.
Pretty much. Yeah. I don't think dude sweat so much at this point, thankfully. Like the paint is very much the smell. You walk in, it's like wood paint. Those are the two smells, which I like.
I love that.
Yeah.
Walking into Home Depot.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, just walk in on the lumber side every time. Yeah, you're like, oh, this is great.
I love it.
Well, you fought and trained, coached, and now running a business. How has your identity evolved in each of those stages?
Ooh, I don't know. Man, I think your confidence level is probably the biggest thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I deal with a lot of guys who are like 15 to 20-ish, you know, so like 15 to 25 is super common. And what I noticed is like a lot of dudes is they have incredibly low self-confidence. And I think for me, even back then, I can kind of like relate because it was a lot of like having to overcome like, oh, I'm fighting in a kid. Like,
yeah, it's terrifying.
It's terrifying, right? You have these terrifying things that are going on. Also, like, I don't know, you know, you have this idea and you're like, when I love my parents, but I didn't grow up like super well off. You know what I mean? We were fine, but yeah, I mean, lower middle class. I grew up by Grand and Gravois. You know, I went to Cleveland High School. You know, so it's one of the that's closed, by the way, but it's one of these things where it's like I think that will not give you much confidence, especially like in the sense of like, well, I grew up like this. There's no way I'm going to own a business. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way I'm ever going to really make any money. There's no way I'm going to be like this, right? Because you have this kind of idea in your head. You're just like, well, this is what I'm used to. Mm-hmm. So even if I'm just one step up from that, like huge accomplishment. And I think a lot of kids don't have confidence, and it's just, I think it's just innate in being young a little bit, right? And it's a part of being young, unfortunately. So for me, it was initially getting over, you know, oh, I'm going to fight people, right? Luckily, I did that so early, I got used to it. So by the time I was 18, 19, 20, I was very like, oh, I'm going to fuck these people up. But it took a while, right? It's like the experience. And then you start doing that, and it's like you get into really coaching. And initially, you're kind of like, "Oh, do I know what I'm talking to?" Yeah, you have this like
syndrome.
Exactly. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. It's this feeling of just like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe this, and then you start.
Yeah, what if they call me out and they say something and they ask me something that I don't know?
Don't know. Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, this is what I will say to all coaches. You don't know everything. So it's okay. Like, some guys are going to ask you a question and you're going to go, you know what? I don't actually know the answer to that. And that's fine. I think the worst thing that coaches do is this cult-like mentality of, I know everything. And it's like, you don't. Nobody does. You know what I mean? Chill. Yeah. But yeah, I think the confidence thing is a big one. And then again, you get better at coaching. And then all of a sudden you're very confident in your coaching. You're like, oh, I could do this. And, you know, same thing with the business. When I first opened the business, I was like fucking petrified. You know, I'm just like, this place is going to close for sure. You know what I mean? Like, you have that in your head initially. And then, you know, a year in, it just really grew fast and it was doing really good. And I'm like, man, okay, I'm doing good. And now, like, I remember I would get so unhappy when somebody would cancel their membership. Like, just one person, hey, Eric, I'm just not going to be able to do this. Where I'm like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, the rest of my day was ruined. I was like, God damn it. Yeah. Now it just happens all the time. And I'm like, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody else. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think it's just,
I felt the same way with my business. You know, like, I used to, oh man, someone else bought, I see on Facebook, someone bought a house and it's like a friend of mine. Oh, they didn't use me. Oh, you know, I just get so mad. Now I'm like, good, you know, all good. Everybody's got a friend. Everybody's got somebody that does it. You know, it's just, you just can't get butthurt about those.
I worked with an agent that would just delete them off of all social media.
That's crazy. I just don't get it. Like, I
You're
see
dead
that.
to me.
Yeah, I see this with people, and they have this very just like, I'm going to cut you off attitude about that kind of stuff, and it's always wild to me.
Scarcity mentality versus
that's a good way to put
abundance.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think that's the biggest thing. It's just confidence. As you get older, you get a lot more confident. Yeah. You know, you get more
life experience.
That's the biggest thing. It's just, you're used to being able to do things, and you know what you can and can't do. And it's like when you take a 19-year-old, they have no idea. Right.
You
know, they don't
probably
know.
haven't failed before or how to come back from failure.
That's the other thing. I think when you're that age, I think we all had this mindset at one point where it's just like, if I fail at this, the rest of my life is over. And it's not. It's not at all. No. It's not at all. We all fail, right? You know what I mean? Like, the biggest fight I ever had, I got choked unconscious in a stadium. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks, you know? Like, it wasn't fun. And I had to go to 150 people who I sold tickets to and go, oh, sorry, guys. You know what I mean? Like, this sucks, you know? But I still was successful. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the end of my life. It wasn't over. You know, I take kids to amateur fights, right? Podunk nowhere against some Hoosier they never heard of. Again, not even recorded. Nobody's going to know about it. And they treat it like it's life or death. And I'm like, it's not.
Yeah.
This isn't a big deal. I mean, I want you to win, and we're training you to win, and I want you to do well. And I train you guys really well. But if you lose, we're just going to fight in 3 months, man. It's going to be all right.
Get another shot at
You're
it.
going to do another one. Chill, you know? So.
Damn. Wow. Well, do you remember, was there like a specific point where you were like, all right, this is when you, I guess it was when you left merchandising, with not Gray Eagle, Major Brands.
Yeah. They're not even open anymore, I don't think, but anyways, go ahead.
Anyway, but yeah, do you remember like the specific time you're like, all right, well, I don't want to do this. Fighting is what I want to do.
I do. Yeah. You mean, well, it's coaching at that point,
coaching.
but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, this is the life that I want to live. I want to be.
I kind of always thought that way. So for me, when my mom once said, she goes, you were just never going to do what you didn't want to do, and that's kind of what she said about me. And I've always liked that when I was a kid, and I'm still like that now. It's one of the reasons I work for myself, because I hate people telling me what to do, but right. So, I always wanted to do something where I was working for myself in some way. I just didn't know how to make it happen. And then I got a little older and I started feeling like, oh man, like you got to be a grown up. You have to do like a real job. You know what I'm saying? We all have that feeling. We all have that feeling.
Like I went to college with no intention of I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was like, I'll get a marketing degree and I'll figure it out later. I just want to hang out with my buddies for 4 years.
Yeah.
At the time the world was in a crisis, I'm like, if I know finance, I'd probably be pretty good. I think I'll be all right.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, I always wanted to be in that situation. And I think I hit a point where I was like, I need to grow up. I need to have a real job. I need to do something secure, all this stuff. My dad was always very well-intentioned, but I think all dads are like this. They're like, you're going to fucking die if you don't make money, if you don't have a secure job. And, and that was his attitude about it, which I appreciate. So I got like a real job, and I kind of hit a point where I'm just like, even when I was younger, I used to think like this, but I really hit it when I started doing that. I go, I would rather be dead than do this, and that sounds a little extreme, but that's actually what I feel like. Legitimately speaking, I will never be functional in a scenario where I would have to work in an office. I will never be functional in a scenario where I have to work directly under most people. You know what I mean? Like I just won't, and I will do almost anything to make it to where I can do things for myself, and just work for myself. And I think if you're essentially not like that, you probably don't want to work for yourself. Yeah, I think it's not. I don't think it's for everybody. But I know it's for me. That's what I would say. I know it's for me. And it's so obvious it's for me at this point. It took this long. I'm 42 finally, but it kind of got here finally, thank God. But yeah, I can't see it any other way. I just can't, and that was the big thing. I was like, this sucks, and I'd rather be dead than keep doing this, it sounds so extreme. It's not some like, I don't live in like a third world country where I'm like war torn and things suck. I don't want to sound like that, but for me personally, that is how it felt. I just knew I couldn't just do this. I just couldn't do it for somebody else. I can't.
Dude, I totally relate. I mean, the last like kind of real, not real. I mean, I would say I have a real job now, but like last W-2 job I had. I remember that feeling like Sunday night before I was like, fuck, I got to go spend 5 days in a row at this fucking job that I cannot stand. Just like watching the clock, waiting for the time to go by.
I mean, do you want to? I don't want to feel like I have to come home and like drink or do drugs in order to get through my week.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like
sure.
that, and that is like honestly what that was feeling like at that point. Like a lot of guys that you work with, they numb themselves through the week to get through these weeks, and I'm just like, man, like you are killing yourself. That is what you're doing. It's exactly what you're doing. You're just doing it really, really slow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I don't know, man. I just can't do it. I'd rather do so many things other than that. I just can't. So, yeah.
Well, now, you've been into basically sports that's just all on you. What have you learned about building a team over that time? Cause you just talked about being on your own, working for yourself. What's it like, Kevin, trying to build a team to support you?
That's actually interesting because I just did payroll. But yeah, it's really good. So I think the biggest thing is culture, right? If you create good culture, everything else is easy. You know, again, you're at gyms, you know what it's like. You go somewhere, culture sucks. Yep. It's not fun to be there. Nobody really wants to be there. People are assholes. They treat you like assholes. They rip submissions. They whatever, hit you as hard as they can, that kind of stuff. They use you, you know, that's a bad culture. And I think you gotta like, that translates over to everything.
Yeah.
If you create a good culture, you will naturally surround yourself over time with people who are like-minded, who also want to be, you know, good people, right? I have such a good group of like just human beings that are surrounding me at my gym. They're just good people.
Yeah.
And I know they're good people because, well, just because I know it, but beyond that, like when you go to other gyms, right? I always get coaches being like, man, your guys are great. Great, super respectful, work super hard, you know, don't complain, listen really well, all the bad stuff, right? Those are the kind of people, if you have a good culture and you're like that, they're going to be attracted to you and they're going to follow and, you know, lead from the front, right? It's like, you got to be the person that if you're kind of a shitbag, you're going to attract other people. Exactly. Right. And it's like, you're going to have people who are going to steal from you. You're going to have people who are going to show up late. They're not going to do their job. They're going to all this different stuff. But if you are showing that if you're showing that you're a good person, you're going to have more or less good people follow you. Not always, you know, and you can weed those people out. Like, as long as you're not just hiring anybody all the time. But yeah, I mean, everybody that works for me is great. I mean, I've had a lot of the same guys for 4 years straight. Like, you know, I've had one employee leave. One.
Really?
Only one. And that was because, frankly, he just makes a lot more money doing the other thing. And I was like, you should leave.
Yeah, that's the thing is I've only been doing this for a little over a year now. And so I've only really experienced Watson's, and that was one of the big reasons. Well, like Zach bringing me in there, but then just getting in there and the culture that they have there is incredible. But, you know, meeting guys like you and some of the other gym owners that we've met, like that's you know, I'm excited once I get a little bit deeper into this and kind of get out of the, like being a beginner and then can kind of advance and get to some other gyms. And
how long you been rolling?
Let's see. I started last May, did it for 3 months. I'm a big hockey player.
Okay.
So once September rolls around, I'm playing hockey 3 times a week.
Oh, that's cool.
So it kind of cuts into jiu-jitsu. So I'm going to probably tailor that back a little bit, and then once hockey's over, I got back into it this year. I think when I start back in April. Yeah. Like something like that. And I've been going since April.
Dude, that's awesome. So nice. Yeah. You're going to get your black belt in 3.5 years.
Yeah. Even faster. Even faster because I'm doing it in half time.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's paying extra for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We used to actually train.
Hear that, Kyle?
Yeah, it's funny. We used to train hockey players at Finney's. Yeah, we had
how to fight.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, we really did. So there was a really funny drill actually that I hated, but I was young and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. But they used to so what they would do is they put a towel around your neck, right? And it would grab the towel and you'd hold a hand pad like this, right? And you would like use one of your hand, you would hold like
stiff arm.
Yeah, exactly. You would stiff arm him away and they would try to pull you in with the towel and hit the pad. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, this is fine. And I would go home and my neck would be just wrecked. Like it's just whiplapping. Yeah, exactly. It's also like 230-pound athletes. You know what I mean? They're they're just ripping you in as fast as they can.
Pulling you in and punching your hand.
Yeah. I mean, Kim Jansen, I think, was there. You know what I mean?
He's got a podcast here.
Yeah.
And then,
does he? That's funny. Yeah.
We had Reed Lowe on the podcast too.
Nice.
So yeah, it was.
There was a guy I used to train a long time ago. He's a super cool dude. Lubos. He was like, I know nothing about hockey, bro. I'm so sorry. I think he was like first out from the bench or whatever that is. But he was on the Blues, and then he moved away to Sweden. I want to say it doesn't matter. Yeah. Anyways, really cool dude, nice guy. Hung out with him a bit, but yeah, super athlete, right? Yeah. We would do like flying knees, like just where he's like standing for like a minute and he has to like flying knee one side, other side, just bang, bang, bang. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I think I was like 20 when I was training him. So
I think hockey players, I mean,
their legs are very explosive.
It's incredible how strong they are.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's all I mean, that was all we worked out was lower body, like
understandable
dry land.
Yeah.
We'd have dry land training where we're just outside doing plyometrics for like 2 hours fucking straight, 3 days a week. And it was, your legs are jello.
Yeah, I went to a
a
training thing he did where it was all like in a gymnasium, and it was like they had this thing that actually kind of looked like this, but you would slide side to side on it.
Yeah.
And he would do that, and then immediately he would do like puck control stuff, and I was like, he's left-handed, so I would have to take his stick, and it's like I don't know the difference, so for me it wasn't a big deal, but I was terrible, of course. And then he's like I don't know, we did a bunch of stuff, and I mean most of the stuff I was okay. I mean this is prime Erik, right? So this is Erik when he's like 21, 22. Yeah. So I'm like, it's still a
best shape of your life.
I'm also weigh nothing, so I'm light. Everything's easy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of body weight stuff. But even then, I was like, man, this is pretty tiring.
Oh, for sure, it's exhausting. I mean, there's a reason those guys only spend like how long are the line changes? Like 30 seconds, right?
A long shift is 45 seconds.
Really? Wow. Yeah. I thought it was like a minute and a half. Wow. Okay.
No. Men's league. Yeah, men's league. We're out there for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. But in the NHL,
that's fair.
In the NHL, the long shift's 45 seconds.
Yeah. I want to do my shoulder is just now getting back to where I can actually do like basic stuff. Like I can just barely get it out, but once I start getting back in shape again, I'm like, man, I don't know. I want to spar still. I really like sparring. I don't know if it's good for me, but I really like sparring. But I was also like, man, I kind of want to get into like some other cardio. And I was thinking about going back to playing basketball, but then I was like, I'm going to just get in fist fights constantly. It's what's going to happen. Every time I see basketball, every video of people playing basketball is just two people almost getting in a fist fight. Right. It seems like, and it just turns me off to it. It's like, I want to just find a league. Can I join like a 50 and up league where everybody's chill? That'd be great. And I could just jog up and down to get cardio and like not care if I win. Like it's fine. I don't know. Anyways, I
mean, I was gonna say that's kind of like the men's league hockey leagues I play in. They're pretty. I mean, they're competitive, but we're older and
I can't skate to save my life. I'm never gonna do it.
Right, no, I'm just saying. There's guys out there. There'll still be fights out there.
Why? Why? It's so dumb.
I'm watching. I'm just like, man, you guys are fucking dumb. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
It's so dumb. It's just so dumb. Who cares? Oh my god.
Have you gotten? I mean, obviously you've been training martial arts almost your whole life. Like, have you had any run-ins like on the street? Ever getting like?
Oh yeah, yeah. So. I mean, past Erik is a different person. Sure. You know what I mean? I'm a lot nicer than I used to be. I'd say that's one of the big things. Most people who know me now are like, oh, you're way more like chill and relaxed and nice than you used to be.
Would you say nicer, or would you say more of like your ego's calmed down?
It's a really good question. I'm not sure. I don't know if it was that or if it was just I had like I had a lot of anger from being a kid. Honestly, I think that's a lot of it. I think everybody, the best, I mean, what is it? Mike Tyson once said the best fighters on earth are insecure. Mm-hmm. And I think that's true. Most of the people who are at a high low, I mean, most people, there's a lot of people who would say, who are your top 3 MMA fighters of all time, right? You're going to go Demetrius Johnson, George St. Pierre, John Jones, probably somewhat of those order. Something like that, right? Yeah. Not Khabib. But anyways, Khabib's overrated. I think Khabib's great. He's probably top 10, but yeah, anyways, doesn't matter. But my point is, if you actually, John Jones is prime example. I mean, look how insecure he is, like with all the stuff he does, the way he acts, all the things, he gets in arguments on Twitter with random fans. Like it's crazy, George St. Pierre got into martial arts because he was bullied, I mean, Demetrius Johnson might be the only one who's actually like kind of confident, but even him, like he's talked about stuff, you know what I mean?
He's a small guy.
He's a small guy. So you're automatically like, you're kind of, you're fine. I met Demetrius Johnson's awesome, by the way. I've met him. He's a really nice dude. I got to do one of his seminars. Coolest dude ever. Anyways, but, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think we're all insecure a little bit, right? I think everybody is to some extent, but fighters especially.
That's why I got into it. I mean, that's why I got into lifting weights when I was, early, like late grade school, high school, and then I've ultimately got into wrestling and then jiu-jitsu. It's like all because I was insecure, I mean, I think that was what it stems from.
Yeah, same. I mean, right after the divorce, I was fucking fat as shit, and I was hitting in the single market again. I'm like, this is not going to be attractive.
Yeah, this is not ideal.
No one wants to date this.
But yeah. I don't know, man. I remember going to high school and just, I got bullied pretty bad when I was young.
I was going to Cleveland, like.
It wasn't fun. It wasn't great. It was okay. It was fine. But I mean, even before that, like, I mean, let's just be real for 2 seconds. Like, if you're a white kid in a relatively black neighborhood, you're not going to have the most fun. You know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of like shit going to be thrown at you, that kind of stuff. Like, and when I mean thrown at you, I mean literally and like verbally.
Yeah.
Like you're just gonna get a lot of like people targeting you, you know, and it sucks. But yeah, so I mean, I had that experience, and then I don't know, just a lot of that kind of stuff, just getting bullied really bad, even in my friend group, because my friend group when I was really young were older than me. So it's like, you know, what I was when I'm 42 again. So when I was a kid, like your friends were whoever was directly around you.
Right.
So it's like if you're hanging out with kids and you're like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years old, all the kids around you are 2 years older than you. You're the one they're going to be bullying, like in the group, right? So it's like most of the time, just did not have a good, fun childhood. And then by the time I was 13, I kind of had the attitude like, I don't care what happens. I'm done with this. Like I'm not dealing with this anymore, and I'll get in fights with people, whatever. And I think that just made me really angry through my early teens into my early 20s. And then it took me a while to kind of like correct out of that like extreme feeling of like everybody hates me. Everybody wants to attack me, you know, and even like 3-4 years ago, I still feel that occasionally, you know what I mean? And I think it just sticks with you, and it's so lame to say it's like, oh, childhood trauma, but like you do have stuff like that just stays with you for your whole life. And yeah, I mean, and then after that, I was just kind of like, I don't care what people think. I don't care what, you know, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to have other people's like pressures on me, I guess, of what they think about me, you know? And so I just had this attitude of like, you know, I'm going to say whatever I think. If you don't like it, fuck off, you know? And I did. And a lot of people didn't always respond well, which is understandable because to be honest, you shouldn't be like that. Like you should, to some extent, try to be cordial. And I think sometimes I wasn't, but like, I mean, you can ask people to train with me who knew me 5-6 years ago. I mean, there's guys that I trained who were like, yeah, I remember when you came up to me and I was like, oh, really? And they're like, yeah, you said my striking was shit. I was just like, all right, that's how I met him. You know what I mean? It's like stuff like that. So,
truth hurts sometimes.
Yeah, but I also am trying to just not, that's true. But you can be honest and not a prick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've worked on that a lot. Yeah. It's a balancing act. It really is. You get a lot of fighters, they come to you and they are absolutely, delusional, frankly. You know, I think most fighters are delusional. You kind of have to be.
You have to be a little bit.
You have to be, right? Like there's a championship mindset for everything. And that championship mindset involves you being absolutely delusional. You know, oh, I'm best on earth. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, but somebody is, right? And that person is correct and everybody else is wrong. Yeah. Which means everybody in the UFC is delusional except for the person who's currently champion, if you think about it, right? If you think of it that way. So so I think you kind of have to have that. But the problem is you get that with guys that are like, oh, I'm 1-1, right? I'm 32 years old as an amateur. I just started training 3 years ago. I'm going to be a UFC champ. You know, and it's like, and then you have to have like a conversation with them. And old Eric would have
15 years too. You're 15 years too late.
And old Eric would have been like, "You have no fucking chance." You know what I mean? You can't even like pay your rent. You're a fucking loser. What are you talking about, right? And then new Eric would be much more just like, I like the passion, and I you know, I think we can do really well as an amateur, but like you're it's just too far, man. Like we're not going to get you to that point this far in your career. You know, it's just not going to happen. Yeah. You know, and again, there's two ways you could do that. One was I'm an asshole, and the other one was I'm just being honest, but I'm not trying to like
hurt your feelings,
purposely hurt your feelings. You know what I'm saying? I guess. So
hit you with a dose of reality here.
Yeah, I guess for me too. I also like when people are just like, no.
I think everybody's different though. Like I've got some players, because I coach baseball, so I've got some players that like that.
I would agree.
And I've got other players that need that soft coaching.
I would agree.
I mean, I was one of those that needed the tough coach. I mean, like when I was playing, I think it was my sophomore year, I got really out of shape. And my pitching coach, he's like my older brother. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have made it as far as I did. But he just came up to me and goes, "You're a fat fuck." He's like, "You need to lose some weight because you're getting fat as fuck. And if you really want to take this seriously, get your ass in shape." And I like next day, I was in the gym training and never looked back.
I agree with you. And I think also putting like a challenge for people, like even if it's not like obvious, like I told one guy once ago, I don't think you're ever going to fight. Yeah. And he fought, he did well actually. But I was like, you know what I mean? And that lit a fire. Right. Sure. Everybody's different. Coaching. This is the one thing I don't like about coaches often. This is going back to, actually we kind of started this whole thing about this was it's very, very hard to be a fake jiu-jitsu coach, right? It's very easy to be a fake striking coach. It's probably the one, especially boxing, because it's not, you don't have to be able to show it the same way. You know what I mean? You can just be like, oh, just do this. And it's like, I want to say striking it's simpler, you know what I mean? But there's just less facets, especially when you get to boxing where it's like, you're literally just allowed to punch him in the face, to the body, not to the back at all, not to the back of that, you know what I mean? So it becomes less complicated.
Yeah, you got two weapons.
So you end up getting a lot of the same coaches. Oh, double jab, keep your hands up. You know what I mean? All right, man. Like, keep your hands in front of your face, buddy. Like, move your feet, but they're not going to teach you how to actually do any defense or do like, hey, here's setups for this and this and this. And so, at the end of the day, I think going back to the coaching thing, sorry, that's kind of a stretch, but the way you coach everybody is going to be very, very different. And that's going to be true with striking, with jiu-jitsu, with everything. But there's a lot of guys out there. It's like they have one form of teaching you how to do stuff and they have one form of motivation, and maybe they don't even have both of those things. Maybe they're just a motivational coach, or maybe they're just like, hey, here's my one system and this is what's going to happen. And I think so many coaches, especially in the striking world, are really bad about that. Well, really bad about that. Like really bad about it.
And it's not just jiu-jitsu or striking. I mean, it's all sports. I mean, it's
crazy.
See it in baseball all the time.
Yeah. It's not a one size fit all. Every guy you have, I don't know, man. I have a guy right now. I mean, he's really good at basically riding a guy's back from like standing against the cage, taking them down, getting back, finishing, right? But he doesn't have good entries for it. Well, you're doing an MMA fight, right? So it's like we have to. How are you getting there? Exactly, right? So it's like, and then I'm not trying to call him out because I told him this the other day, but I'm like, when he was sparring, he's doing a lot of like sparring to spar, like to do kickboxing, right? And I'm just like, but that's not what we're going to be trying to do, man.
Yeah,
back against I'm like, you are solid from this position. Like you get body lock on guys, he's dangerous. Like if he body locks at guys, he can get to the back. He's dragging them down for sure. Like he's getting guys way bigger than him. They're better wrestlers than him, frankly, open space. And he's getting them down, taking the back and finishing. And I'm like, bro, you could run through a ton of amateurs, but you need to fill this one gap. And if you don't fill this one gap, you're always just going to get like tagged up standing, you know what I mean? Until your striking really starts getting better. But the path of winning is so much shorter to just get your striking good enough for your entries to be good to this body lock position so we can do everything else, right? Versus, hey, we're just going to make you really good at striking. Right. And then maybe if you knock them down, you'll get on top. Like that's a crazy way but the problem is a lot of coaches that are just striking coaches, let's say, they'll just be like, yeah, we're just going to work your striking.
Get your striking better.
You work from your
strengths.
Long
road.
You work from your strengths.
Stupid.
Work from your strengths, not your weaknesses.
It's so stupid. And I don't know, man. I see it all the time. I just see these coaches like make guys worse in a lot of ways. Like they'll come to you and they have all this, like they'll have a really good wrestling background, right? And you hit like a truck and they're like, we're going to get you really good at jiu-jitsu. It's like, why? Dude, like you can just, I'm like, we can get your striking a little better. You could fake some takedowns and then you're knocking everybody unconscious. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. Like you have pillow fist and you're not very good with your defense, right? But we get body on body and like you are slamming people to the ground easy, no problem takedowns, and you're riding them the whole round. All right, well, let's work on your jiu-jitsu. I'm not saying that like you should ignore any one thing.
Right.
Understand what I'm saying? It's not like hey, if we're doing all this striking, you're not doing jiu-jitsu, or hey, if we're doing all this jiu-jitsu, you're not doing striking. What I am saying is
you need to have those to complement what your strengths are.
Right. Yeah. Again, man, like
they need to be serviceable.
Exactly. Every sport has positions.
Yep.
Like a wide receiver is not going to be on the offensive line. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Right. You are built for a certain thing. You are good at a certain thing. You should be leaning into that as much as possible. And it's crazy to me, the number of coaches that will like pull them away from stuff that they're strong at to try to get them good at something that they're probably never going to be that good at. Right. You just need to secure that enough to where they're not horrible at it and then make their game really good. Again, look at every UFC champion forever, and for the most part you can point towards like they're really good at this, and they basically shut this down, right?
Right.
That's how you make champions. That's my goal. That's how, you know what I mean? So anyways,
yeah
tangent.
No well, and just kind of piggyback on that, I guess, would be like, you've coached a lot of people at this point. You've seen a lot of fighters, taking some to some high levels. Is there an attribute that you see in a fighter that would like
lead to success?
Yeah, that you see like lead to them having
they have to want to fight. I know that sounds obvious,
Sure.
but it's shockingly not. It's not as common as you think, right? I run into guys who. Ben Askren talked about this recently, right? And also, by the way, super inspirational. What's going on with him? Holy shit!
Holy
Jesus
shit.
Christ, man!
And
What
also, whatever you think
stud.
about the Paul brothers, them forking over the money for him to get that surgery.
I mean, it's not very hard when you're in crypto scams, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
At least they're using it for good cause.
I guess I'm a mixed bag on that one. I understand what you're saying. I'm happy they did it. I mean, Dana White's not a good person, in my opinion, in many ways, obviously. I mean, you had enough. Dana White bets on his blackjack at night what he could have paid for Ben Askren's surgery, you know. Anyways, Dana White's on his way out of the UFC anyways, you can tell. But what were you talking about? That's right. Attribute for fighter. Sorry. So the attribute for fighter thing is they have to want to fight. There's a lot of guys who do this thing where they say, yeah, I want to be an MMA fighter, right? And what they really mean is they want to post stuff on social media of them doing cool shit, and then occasionally winning fights and not really like consistently fighting. Once you get to a certain point, the only way you're actually going to get better is to fight, right? And you just have to do it on a regular basis. And you get guys that get way the fuck out of weight, or their weight class, right? Oh, I fight at 145. Bro, you're 190. You know what I mean? We're not going to be taking a fight for you. We have 4 months before we can take a fight for you now. You know what I mean? Unless you want to absolutely kill yourself to make that weight class. You're not going to get that much better in the gym for actual fighting. You know what I mean? At a certain point, like you kind of hit this like I want to say plateau. You'll still kind of do one of these, but where you'll really see the jumps is when they have a fight and you go, okay, so obviously, all the work on your takedowns against the cage didn't work at all. You know what I mean? Why is that? Well, you're failing at this, this, and this. And you're not going to see that until you're really tested. And so like, if you want to get to that high level, you need to ideally get in early, right? And then the second thing is you got to want to fight. Because once you are trained to a proficient level to where you're not like, let's say it's just MMA for the sake of argument right now, where you're not absolute trash on the ground, you're not absolute trash at wrestling, that's open space and cage, and you're not absolute trash at striking, and you're winning rounds consistently, and you can make a weight class, and you're in shape. Once that happens, the best way to get way better is to fight regularly. And that's why I try to keep my guys pretty often, you know what I mean? And I just think that's important. And then the next thing is, don't be that concerned about it, especially as an amateur. Just fight often. All the time, boxing, kickboxing, MMA, do jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? Matches, whatever. Go to, wrestling tournaments if you can, just sign up. Who cares? You know, it's not going to hurt you. It's only going to make you better. And what you're going to find out really fast is where you're lacking, and you could fix those things, or you can just nullify them. Again, get good at anti it, right? Your striking's not great, and you're never going to be great at striking. Again, you just have to be good enough to where you're not getting the shit kicked out of you, and you can close the gap with your strikes to make it a wrestling match, right? Or whatever. You got to want to fight. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people say they do. And then what'll happen is they have one fight, they lose maybe, right? And then they'll be like, oh, and they'll get another fight in 3 months, and they'll win that fight, and then you won't see them for 6 months. And then they're just like, I'm going to be in the UFC. And it's like, no, you're not. Like, you're absolutely not. You're just not. It's not going to happen. Like, you have to be wanting to fight like 3 to 4 months regularly at weight. Ideally more than that, 4 to 5 times a year is like super ideal, especially as an amateur if you're young.
Kendall's one of your fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he was telling us about how for a while there he was stuck on one thing, and then was it you that convinced him that to come back and fight again, or like he was thinking about quitting? I think he was talking about that.
Oh yeah, he had a few MMA losses, and then you're like, oh fuck it, dude, let's just do some kickboxing. I think
that's my attitude. But again, it's the competition.
He's fucking everybody up in kickboxing.
Yeah, he just murdered everybody, and in boxing, which he probably didn't bring up either. But no,
he started off talking about how he started off in boxing, was beating the shit, and then he went into MMA, lost, and he was wanting to quit, and then he said you convinced him to try kickboxing, and he just started beating the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. So I think it was the MMA. So I don't believe he's done boxing prior to the MMA, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's okay. So I'm not trying to talk down on Kendall, but Kendall had a rough time when he first went to MMA. He won his first fight.
He told us all about that.
Yeah. So he had one win, and then he kind of had 4 losses in a row. Now, it's such a long story, but he basically fought for a belt on his second fight. Now that was against a really good guy also who I don't think is competing anymore, which is crazy to me. It's Isaac Dancy. I can't believe that he's not even
really
competing. I think he's training again. He might, from what I understand, I'm not like talking for him, but Isaac Dancy's really good. And it's shocking to me that he is, I think he said he's just going to retire. And I was like, why? Like, you're so good. I know that he has had a rough time as a pro so far, so I understand. But anyways, Kendall's second fight was Isaac Dancy. Both really good guys, and they faced each other. And Kendall started off getting the better, and then got caught and got finished, unfortunately, right? But it's not against like a nobody. And I think that kind of hurt his confidence a little bit. Next fight, he went against the kid, beat the shit out of the kid, did something stupid. Right. Basically saw red, bro, and like hurt the kid. And then the kid fell to guard. And then he just the classic, I'm just going to pound the shit out of you. Until the ref pulls me off. And the kid just threw his legs up and it threw him into an arm bar. And then like Kendall tried to get out and got triangle choked. And he got finished in that one. And I was like, fuck. It's such a shame, too, because I was like, man, it's like he almost wins this fight, loses, almost wins this fight. I mean, he was killing this kid. If this had even went to the second round, the kid wasn't going to be able to stand. Like, he was that bad. Anyways, loses. Third fight. Goes against a pretty hard dude, honestly. It was a guy out of what's Marathon now. It used to be Glory. And kid was pretty decent. Had a mixed record, but he's pretty good. And Kendall got, unfortunately, finished in that one. And the fourth fight that he had in MMA, he won. I don't think there's any question he won, but he got screwed on a split decision. And to the point where, like, I had every coach coming up to me and being like, you got robbed, dude. That's wild. And then after I was like, let's do boxing and kickboxing, man. And then just went on a tear, you know? Yeah. And he lost the kickboxing match. He got knocked out in a kickboxing match. Shit happens, you know? It's not going to be a perfect line, but now he's an absolute murderer, you know? But what was the thing, right? We just talked about 2 seconds ago. You got to be willing to fight, right? You go one. Most guys that go 1-4 do not turn it around and then go whatever he is now, like fucking since then 11-1 or something like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then his last,
he's got 10 unbeaten, right? 10 in a row.
I think he has 5 finishes in his last 5 fights, something like that. I think it's 5. I could be wrong. It is 5. Yeah, he has 5 finishes in his line. He's got 3 spinning back fist knockouts in those too. So awesome. It's like, dude, like again, like you can turn it around if you really want to, and if you're really willing to put in the work. This is the failure thing we were talking about earlier, but like these guys are not. Instagram, I'm happy that Instagram and social media and all that stuff wasn't around when I was training and fighting, because it puts so much pressure on you because you know it's going to be out there, right? There's a knockout that just happened in NFA with a guy that came up to my gym a while back, right? I don't know if you saw it. It was the teep to the face.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That is everywhere right now. Like everywhere. Every time I open my feed, it's on somebody's thing. Yeah. It's on NFA a million times. And I feel bad for him because I'm just like, sucks.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That's like the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
and I mean,
obviously for his physical health, but like then the
Mental.
fact that every time he opens his phone, he's got to see it again.
I have multiple head kick knockouts on people. I have knee knockouts to the head. Luckily, for the people involved with those, most of those aren't recorded, but I have some that are recorded and they're out there. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm just like kicking people in the face and they're going unconscious.
Well, it's like that.
And it's just like
Adam Sella roundhouse. There.
Yeah, it's there forever. Like, the spinning back kick to the face. Yeah. I don't know if it was wheels. Technically doesn't matter. Anyways,
I'm not a striking guy.
You're totally fine. Back is straight, wheel is circular. I think it was straight, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to come back from that. It's hard to come back from that. And the only way you're going to come back from that again is you got to build your confidence back up. And the way to build your confidence back up is by having results, right? It's looking behind yourself and going, oh, I did all this stuff. And look how great it is. Look at these cool things I did, and how successful I've been since then. That's how you get confidence. It's not like telling yourself, I'm going to be confident. That's how it works, So, but yeah, be willing to fight, man. You got to fight.
Love it. Awesome. Well, Erik, it's been great having you in here, man. We've really enjoyed this conversation. Is there anything else you wanted to chat about before we get you out of here?
Come out to my gym.
Yeah.
We offer a free day, right? Yeah. Schedules on the website, and we can keep adding classes because we have a second room now, so we'll be adding even more classes. So there's multiple classes going on at once, and we offer kids classes.
and how they
That's
find
the
you.
new
Sweet.
We
Okay.
just started doing kids classes. I
cool.
should have said that first.
That's awesome.
8 to 12 years old, kids
Okay.
class, striking. It's a boxing, kickboxing, karate mesh a little bit, because that's basically what I grew up doing. So
Cool.
yeah,
Nice.
Love it.
yeah.
And how do we get a hold of you?
You can go to ESMMA and Fitness, the website. We're also that on Instagram and Facebook, so you can contact us any of those ways. I'm not going to put my phone number out
Yeah,
there,
no,
I
you
guess,
don't need
but
to.
yeah, you can just text the phone number that's there too. So I'll respond or call, do whatever you want, email, however.
Perfect.
So-
Well,
Awesome.
well, before we get you out of here, we end the show the same way every time. So
Play a little game. We call it the tombstone game.
Oh
Here-
God.
Here lies Eric. What's the standard tombstone?
Oh Jesus. God, I have no idea. I did Jesus. That's such a hard one. I have no idea.
Take a second.
Man, I
take a
hope.
second to think about it.
Yeah. I really hope I affected people's lives positively. I would say that's
Yeah.
something like that.
That's
You know what I
great.
mean? Yeah.
That's perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks to everybody at home that tuned into the show. Please click that subscribe button for us if you haven't done so already. That would help us out a ton. If you enjoyed or got anything out of this episode, make sure to share it with a friend. Click that like button as well. Comment what you thought below. We'll see you next time.